Welcome everyone. The topic for the day is process or tools of project communication. We'll talk about exactly what communication management. Remember, everything which ensures an appropriate generations of data, collections of data, dissections of data into information, and providing that information on a timely basis within the decision maker's capacity that will ultimately lead to a wonderful decisions is what project information is all about it. So it is the timely delivery, storage, dissection, information of data into data into information, and then perhaps particular to decision percolates to a decision is all about project communication management. We need to understand how do we store those data, store those information, because those information can be referred at a later point of time. That is what is very much required. So exactly tells you what is project communications. A good management would be all about it. Remember, uh, many a problem of, if you look see into this clip art, if you look into it, many a problem is caused because of communication itself. People not communicating at all. This gentleman is wondering, this person is confused, they are blabbering a lot, nobody is hearing, and probably this is all the bad communication process is all about it. Now we need to understand these points altogether. This is what we are looking at it. If we can have some segment, some sense of understanding, some sense of semblance into the fashion of how we communicate, that is what the control and probably the secret mantra of having a successful project implementation. So the greatest threat, remember, the greatest threat is all about the communication. That is what we look into it. This is what we have showed it to you. Research shows that if you have to be successful, you have to be proficient as far as communication is concerned. Your verbal skill has to be very. So how do we go around it? It is the most, probably 90% of the time a project manager would be spending only on communication. Communication is a complex activity. It requires a lot of choices of media, choices of model, choices of writing style, the presentation technique, and the meeting minutes. Now what are we talking about? This can be, everything can be classified into formal and informal. Do we have to follow the dictum? How conversant are we there with the people? Is the communication on a daily basis? Is it requires to be documented? In case if these are things, please understand which parameters is the best suited for it. Should we go for a formal thing? Yes, definitely. If it is on to be recorded, go for everything which is formal. Let's say the writing style. But if you are doing on a daily, day-to-day interactions, day-to-day operations, probably you might be a little casual, a little more effective at that case. So you need to understand what is communication and how are you going to hammer it. You, at the end of the day, there should be a proper transfer of ideas, proper transfer of knowledge for a person to another entity altogether, and getting the things done. Why do we go for communication? So communication is a process of planning, of distributing, of reporting, and engaging the stakeholders. So we need to plan everything out, we need to look into it, we need to plan it out, we need to distribute the informations, make them a partner in the process. Then this is where you create a dashboard and tells how good, bad, ugly you people are performing as far as the project is concerned. This is where you keep everybody as stakeholders, you manage them, set them realistic goals, set them objectives, help them achieving the goals, help them having a synchrony in their effort. There should be a synergy within the team, there should be a sense of vibrancy within the team player. We need to plan our communication, we need to have a perfect distribution model. The reporting system needs to be sensitizing everybody as to what are the good things happening and what are not so good things happening, and how do we take them into a stride and manage all thereby. Talking about communication planning, now we need to understand what kind of information and what kind of communication needs to percolate to certain segment of stakeholders. So first thing and foremost thing is the communication management plan. That should be a document that will clearly determine if there are how to go about the communication. Now imagine a scenario where a lower rung employee suddenly discovers that there are some mm, uh, there are certain discrepancies that is coming up across it, and it is up to him to sensitize the top management. Probably again there is a hinder in the sense that he or she cannot get in touch directly. So there has to be a communication document as to how do you raise your red flag, how do you go for whistleblowing, how do you stop pilfering of the resources, how do you align any misalignment altogether in the first place. So we need to analyze the stakeholder, we need to plan for communication, give them an aid, give an opinion, give vent them a resources where they can vent out their outcomes, their feelings, and so on and so forth. We need to understand the needs of the stakeholders. Remember, the more that they talk, the more that they engage, the more they will become a partner in the execution altogether. So we need to have suggested methods or technologies for the communication management plan. We are looking into it. Now, talking about the distribution, we need to have these points again and again, every time and done. Communication is all about inputs. It is all about tools and technique. It is all about output. Now, input is on communication or management plan or the project plan, which needs to be documented and reiterated at different point of time. You can do the same thing through meetings, through presentation, having it there on the on your employee handbook, having it there as a reference material, or even hosting it down in your website altogether. So tools and technique, what are they going to go around it, the communication method, the information distribution, and so on and so forth. So project records, project report, project presentation are vital things that needs to be understood. Include all important information. Do not, I repeat, do not be afraid to report bad information. There is nothing wrong with it. Remember, any sort of information is only going to be making you much more stronger altogether. You should be preparing you to face the consequences as a team. Use technology to enhance information distribution. Use formal and informal method for distributing information. All now, talking about encouraging more face-to-face interaction, short, frequent meetings are definitive effective. I seriously believe have not having a longer mundane meeting, but a short, frequent meetings are much more effective. Getting the message across. This is what we like to go around it. We need to understand what has been happening around there. Some companies have policies of preventing the use of emails between certain hours, certain days, certain level of employees that we look into it. So that is what you need to go with, the flow of the company that comes around it. Stand up meeting of people focuses on that. Please remember, please, we are not looking at this meeting where people are sitting, getting relaxed. If we can have a meeting unlike the other things that I've showed it to you, where everyone is standing and people are communicating. So this is what the standard meeting would be going around it. Here it becomes more effective, and such meetings are very quick meetings. Remember, such meetings are very quick meetings that we talk about it. So information distribution media is all about meeting, giving a hard copy of what has been discussed or what has been expected, what are the roles and duties that has been awarded, the telephone call, the voicemail, the email, and the website. So we need to have these kind of media that needs to be taken care of about it. We can have the short messaging service, we can have the proper email, we can have it on the website, we can have a hard copy of it, and so on and so forth that comes around it. Suggestions. Now, how to improve the project communication? First and foremost thing, if there is an improvement in communication, it eliminates a lot of conflicts. It eliminates a lot of misinformation. There are no misnomers being circulated there. The grapevine should be absolutely dry altogether. Develop. I urge all of you to have better communication skills. Run effective meeting. And what is the effective meeting? I've given you the mantra out there as having the frequent meeting but very short meeting. Absolutely a meeting which should be over within 300 seconds, that is 5 minutes, and that's it. You need to basically transfer one of the knowledge, one of the information to the whole gamut of people standing out there. So that is what we are looking into it. So we have the use of email effectively, use template for the project communications, and so on and so forth that comes across it. We need to believe it. Now comes the performance reporting, collection, disseminations of the information that comes around it. Yes, we are talking about the project plans here, work results, other project reports. We are talking about the techniques. Now, these are the techniques. What are the techniques? These are the analysis, the reporting dashboard that comes around it. Let us talk about the variance analysis, the trend analysis, the EVA or the earned value analysis, information distribution tools and technique, and last but not the least would be your outcomes as in report. So we need to grind the data from here. Absolutely, the data has to be collected from here at all cost, and probably we grind it up, make some sense out here, and probably generate the reports out here. Examples are Microsoft project, which has a wonderful thing, or let's say Oracle Fusion project performance reporting system. If you people are not aware of this thing, just Google it out, and I'm sure you will get wonderful reports out there. So we have the managing stakeholders. Now, what is stakeholder? This is very important because everybody has their own interest. Everybody has their own stake into play, their own point of view that needs to be attained all at all times. So project and project managers, be it the managers or be it the team leader, should work with different kind of stakeholders and make them aware that their objective has been met, the process as with the process which goes around it. So we need to understand the things that comes around. We need to let them know, be aware of them, what exactly is happening. Good stakeholder management helps you to improve project management and the organizational growth that comes across it. Remember, please remember, it is only the stakeholders who can make a project or mar a project. If you have them as a partner, nothing can go wrong with your project. Your project will see the end of the day, the silver lining out will be there at all costs. But in case some of the stakeholders are, you have not been able to partner with them, have not been able to take them on board, things will be difficult for you to go around it. So it is always better to manage the stakeholders individually and with the help of a work group. So basically, we have come up with a lot of software in terms of project communications. There are people, look at it. You people are right now watching this particular video, and it is another technology, another software that has been coming across and distributing the information. So we have the video conferencing software called Skype. We have the team viewer thing in video conferencing. We have so many virtual meeting software coming around it, the document storage, be it in the box or be it in the drive. The social media establishes more further communication. Remember, that is what we are looking at it. Absolutely, which tells me what to do and what not to do. Project management software, we is Primavera. If people are interested, Primavera is a project management software that has a lot of various capabilities. In fact, one of the best software that I've come across with respect to project management is Primavera. Primevera. Primavera, please have it. Probably you will engage, get engaged altogether. Apart from it, a lot of productivity tools have actually been flourishing or being pumped into the market on everyday basis. New tools such as instant messaging, blocks can enhance communication. We definitely, yes, poor project communication should always decrease the cost, because remember, only when the cost goes down the profit goes up. So the thing that comes around it. So let us come to the fag end of the presentation that comes around. We need to understand what are the document names and the format that comes around it, which comes around. And this is something, what an example that I'm trying to tell it to you. Just an example from you, from one of the best practices in the Fortune 500 companies that I am sharing with you people. So we have the customer management thing, which is a monthly soft report and given in hard copy. Similarly, for business staff, monthly soft report and given in a hard copy. Now comes the technical stuff. The moment it becomes technical, hard copy vanishes, email comes in. Remember, internal management, definitely hard copy. Internal and business technical stuff, again, intranet or on the server itself. This is where the server is all been blocked in our. The training coordinator is the training plan, the hard copy, and the software coordinators would be in email. So we need to go across it. We come to such kind of tables, probably the last slide for this particular presentation altogether. So which medium is suited for phone calls, for voicemail, for email, or hard copy? This is what I've been giving you as a weightage. Remember, there's only one weightage when we are addressing a lot of people. It might be a phone call, or it can be, remember, it can be any of the hard copies or email that comes across it. So we have a lot of things that comes. Let us assessing commitment, building. Assessing commitment needs to have into a hard copy. The weightage has been given, which has been going. So we can have either excellent or inappropriate, which comes across it. Now, assessment continues, hard copy, not at all recommended. So what has been recommended? Probably a voicemail, absolutely a phone call where you have feedback which is coming up instantly. But voicemail, it is only an information that has been shared or email that has been shared. These are not appropriate things to do as far as commitment is concerned. Commitment is wherein you have a dialogue, you see the pain points of the other person, you take him into consideration, you try to build consciousness. We need to build upon it. So let me go into the point which is most appropriate. Look at it. Why phone calls are required? For resolving misunderstanding. There is a dialogue which comes around it. Why appreciation is to be recommended in a hard copy? Because this can be displayed on the notice board, can be given to the personal file altogether, can be awarded, can be acknowledged in front of the public. Similarly, we have something called email that comes around it with the showing of appreciation. Now, email nowadays, please understand, this is not to only the gentleman or the lady concerned, but marked a copy across the organization. So I'm trying to tell you the best practices that comes around it. Here comes the reference document. This is in hard copy because once it has been printed, it is there in black and white. You will always look into it. Reinforced authority, give the power versions around here. Providing pertinent records, always have a hard copy. Similarly, if you want to go for maintaining confidentially, it is the phone call that has been recommended. You are not, remember, you are not recording it and you are not documenting it. Conveying a simple information is phone call, definitely yes, the best practice is. Additional information, definitely a phone call. Making a simple request, definitely out there, you got to go around it. Similarly, why should we go for an email? Email is where we require a pertinent records out there. Email is what, when we are having a simple information, we can always go for a voicemail where the instruction can be left or being sent over a mail. Similarly, for adding an information mail, such practices can be taken call for either for a request or so on and so forth. So we need to understand what are the best practices that has been there and accordingly give it out there. Please pause the video on this particular slide and can build upon your communication abilities when you are going to look forward it in the practice in a real life world. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.